What you're about to see is not clickbait. This is not a rumor. This is not guessing. I need you to stop everything you're doing right now because the WWE world has just been broken into a million pieces. And honestly, I'm still trying to understand what just happened on SmackDown. Nick Aldis just made a choice that has destroyed decades of wrestling history. Paul Heyman, the WISEMAN, the Special Counsel to the Tribal Chief, the greatest advocate in sports entertainment history, has been fired, let go, removed, gone. And the reason? An attack on Triple H that nobody saw coming, that nobody could have guessed, and that has left the entire WWE Universe in complete chaos. Hello viewers, if you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. But here's where it gets even more crazy, because what Nick Aldis shared in his announcement has effects that go way beyond just Paul Heyman's firing. This touches Roman Reigns. This touches the Bloodline. This touches the entire power setup of WWE. So get ready, hit that subscribe button right now, because you're going to want to be part of this talk, and let me explain the most shocking moment in recent WWE history. Let me paint the picture for you. SmackDown starts. The crowd is pumped. We're waiting for the usual opening segment. Maybe a promo from Roman, maybe some Bloodline drama. Normal Friday night stuff, right? Wrong. Nick Aldis' music plays. The SmackDown general manager walks out. And right away, you can tell something is off. This isn't his usual calm, professional vibe. The man looks angry. His jaw is tight. His eyes are fixed on that ring like he's carrying the weight of a choice that could change everything. The crowd doesn't know whether to cheer or stay quiet. There's this strange tension in the arena. Aldis grabs the microphone, and I'm not kidding, his first words are, "Last week, a line was crossed that can never be uncrossed." The crowd erupts because everyone knows exactly what he's talking about. Last week's SmackDown ended in complete chaos when Triple H, the Game, the chief content officer, the man who built NXT and has been key in shaping modern WWE, was attacked in a cruel, planned assault. And who planned it? Who was the brain behind one of the most cowardly attacks we've seen in years? Paul Heyman. Now, before I go on, let me ask you something. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Did Paul Heyman go too far? Or was this just business as usual in the tough world of WWE? Because I promise you, the WWE Universe is split on this, and I want to hear your thoughts. Aldis keeps going. He says, as general manager of Friday Night SmackDown, I have a duty to keep order, a duty to make sure that everyone, and I mean everyone, from our superstars to our executives, can come to work without fear of being attacked. The crowd is listening to every word. And last week, Aldis' voice gets louder, Paul Heyman made a choice that has forced my hand. He organized, he planned, and he carried out an attack on Triple H that was not only uncalled for, but shameful. Now here's where the announcement gets nuclear. Aldis looks directly into the camera and says, starting immediately, Paul Heyman is fired from his position. He is no longer welcome in any WWE building. His passes have been canceled. His access has been denied. Paul Heyman, you're fired. The arena explodes. Some fans are cheering. Some fans are in shock. Some fans are booing. Because love him or hate him, Paul Heyman is a legend in professional wrestling. But Aldis isn't finished. And also, he goes on, any superstar found to be working with Paul Heyman moving forward will face immediate and serious punishment, up to and including suspension or firing. Hold on, stop, rewind. Do you get what that means? That's not just firing Paul Heyman. That's a direct shot at the Bloodline. That's Nick Aldis putting Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, everyone connected with the Tribal Chief on notice. This isn't just about Paul Heyman anymore. This is about breaking down the most powerful group in WWE history. Now, let's go back in time. Let's talk about why we're here. Let's talk about the attack that went too far. Last week's SmackDown, Triple H is backstage, doing what he does, checking in on talent, making sure the show runs well. He's the chief content officer. This is his job. Suddenly, the cameras catch Paul Heyman in a serious conversation with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. They're huddled in a corner, whispering, planning. Classic Heyman. The wise man is always scheming. Cut to later in the show. Triple H is walking through the parking lot area, heading to his car. The show's ending. Everything seems normal. Then, bam! Out of nowhere, Solo Sikoa blindsides Triple H with a brutal Samoan spike. The Game falls to the ground. But they don't stop there. Oh no! Jimmy Uso starts stomping on him, non-stop, mean, brutal. And where's Paul Heyman during all of this? Standing in the shadows,
watching with that smug smile on his face, that sneaky, plotting expression that tells you he planned every second of this assault. The medical staff rushes in. Triple H is down. He's holding his ribs. He's barely awake. And as the EMTs are loading him onto a stretcher, Paul Heyman walks up, leans down, and whispers something in Triple H's ear. We don't know what he said. The cameras didn't pick it up. But whatever it was personal. It was planned. It was meant to send a message. And that message? I run this show. The Bloodline runs this show. And nobody, not even Triple H, is untouchable. Now here's what makes this even more frustrating. Triple H and Paul Heyman have history. These two have been in this business for decades. They've been friends. They've been enemies. They've been everything in between. But this wasn't about competition. This wasn't about a rivalry. This was about power. This was Paul Heyman trying to prove that he and the Bloodline are above the rules, above punishment, above everyone. And you know what? For a moment, it looked like he might be right. The WWE Universe was outraged. Social media exploded. Hashtags like Fire Heyman and Justice for Triple H were trending worldwide within minutes. Fans were demanding accountability. Fans were demanding action. But nobody expected Nick Aldis to bring the hammer down this hard. Nobody expected Paul Heyman to actually be fired. And that is what makes this story absolutely insane. So, Paul Heyman is fired. The announcement has been made. The WWE Universe is in chaos. But here's the question that everyone is asking right now. What does this mean for Roman Reigns? Because let's be real, Paul Heyman isn't just some manager. He's not just some talker. He is the architect behind Roman Reigns' change into the tribal chief. He is the brains behind the Bloodline's power. He is the reason Roman has held the undisputed WWE Universal Championship for over 1,000 days. Without Paul Heyman, does Roman Reigns even exist in his current form? Think about it. Every promo, every deal, every smart move, Paul Heyman's fingerprints are all over it. And now he's gone. So what happens next? Does Roman come to SmackDown next week and demand that Nick Aldis bring back Paul Heyman? Does he threaten to leave? Does the Bloodline stage a revolution? Or, and this is the really interesting option, does Roman embrace this? Does he use this as a chance to prove that he doesn't need Paul Heyman, that he can stand on his own as the tribal chief? Because there's been whispers, for months now that Roman and Paul's relationship has been rocky, that there's been tension behind the scenes, that Roman has been wanting to step out of Heyman's shadow and truly become his own man. Maybe this is the moment. Maybe this is the spark for a massive character change for Roman Reigns. But here's where it gets even more tricky. Nick Aldis didn't just fire Paul Heyman. He also made it crystal clear that anyone working with Heyman moving forward faces firing. That's a threat. That's a warning. That's Nick Aldis drawing a line in the sand. So if Roman tries to bring Paul Heyman back in any way, even as an unofficial advisor, he's putting his own career at risk. And you know Roman Reigns doesn't respond well to threats. You know the tribal chief doesn't take kindly to being told what he can and cannot do. This sets up a collision course between Roman Reigns and Nick Aldis that could shape the next several months of SmackDown. Imagine this. Roman comes out next week and refuses to accept Nick Aldis' power. He brings Paul Heyman out anyway. He dares Aldis to do something about it. What does Aldis do? Does he back down? Does he suspend Roman? Does he strip Roman of the title? The options are endless, and every single one of them is explosive. Now, let's talk about the other side of this equation. Let's talk about Triple H. Because the game is not the type of man to just take an attack lying down. Triple H has been in this business for 30 years. He's been betrayed, he's been blindsided, he's been through it all. But this was different. This was personal. Reports are coming out that Triple H is furious, not just at Paul Heyman, not just at the Bloodline, but at the fact that this happened on his watch, in his company, under his leadership. Triple H has built a legacy in WWE. He's one of the greatest in-ring fighters of all time. He's the man who took NXT from a training ground to a global sensation. He's the chief content officer, the guy making the creative choices that shape WWE programming. And Paul Heyman planned an attack on him like he was just some random guy, like he was nobody. That is the ultimate disrespect. So what does Triple H do now? Does he demand payback? Does he get physical revenge? Does he book himself in a match against Solo Sikoa or Jimmy Uso? Remember, Triple H may be in a corporate role now, but he's still Triple H. He's still the game. He's still the cerebral assassin, and he's proven time and time again that he can still go in that ring when he needs to. We've seen him come back from retirement to compete at WrestleScope. We've seen him have a brutal match against Cody Rhodes. We've seen him prove that even with a career-threatening heart condition, he's still one of the toughest people in the business. So the question is, does Triple H take the corporate approach and let Nick Aldis' choice stand as justice, or does he take matters into his own hands and get the physical payback he deserves? And here's another twist. What if Triple H disagrees with Nick Aldis' choice to fire Paul Heyman? Stay with me here. What if Triple H thinks that firing Heyman is letting him off too easy? What if Triple H wanted Paul Heyman to stay in WWE so he could personally make his life a living hell? There's a part of me that thinks Triple H would love to have Paul Heyman around so he could slowly destroy the bloodline piece by piece, with Heyman watching helplessly as everything he built crumbles. Firing Heyman gives him an out. It lets him escape the punishment. It lets him disappear into the shadows and avoid the anger of Triple H. And something tells me the game is not okay with that. This could lead to massive tension between Triple H and Nick Aldis. It could lead to a power fight between the general manager and the chief content officer. It could lead to chaos at the highest levels of WWE management. And you know what that means. Must-see television. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about what this means for the bloodline as a whole. Because Paul Heyman wasn't just Roman's advocate, he was the glue holding this group together. He was the one smoothing over problems between Roman and Jey Uso. He was the one keeping Solo Sikoa focused. He was the one managing all the egos and personalities in this group. And now he's gone. Do you really think the bloodline survives this? We've already seen cracks forming. We've seen Jey Uso break away and forge his own path. We've seen tension between Roman and Solo. We've seen Jimmy struggling with his loyalty to his family versus his loyalty to the tribal chief. Paul Heyman was the one preventing a